Hey everyone, it's Jacqueline at PixieDustPhD, and we have some news about the new tower at the Polynesian for Disney Vacation Club. Today, May 10th, we got a Disney Parks blog post, and DVC members did receive an email introducing the Island Tower at Disney's Polynesian Villas and Bungalows. This tower is slated to open in December 2024. We do not yet have an exact day, but now we've got a month. As part of this announcement, Disney Vacation Club shared the logo and overall branding look and feel for the Island Tower at Disney's Polynesian Villas and Bungalows. Personally, I really enjoy this logo. The center evokes the Great Ceremonial House, you've got waves for the lagoon, and then of course the sun up above. Plus, over on Instagram, they posted a video introducing this branding and logo, and you get to see the monorail pull out of the station as well, which is just a super cute touch. Bookings for the new Island Tower begin on June 4th for DVC members, on June 5th for Walt Disney World annual pass holders, and June 6th for the general public. This is a cash rate only. A booking date utilizing DVC vacation points will be announced at a later point in time. The tower is 10 stories tall and will have room types sleeping between 2 and 9 guests. The Disney Parks blog post indicates that this is duo studios as well as 1 and 2 bedrooms plus a new room type, a penthouse 2-bedroom villa. Over on Twitter, Scott Gustin reported that there will also be deluxe studios. Similarly, DVCnews.com reported that a press release stated there would be deluxe studios. Personally, I find both of these sources very trustworthy, and so I believe that there will be deluxe studios, though I am a bit annoyed that they couldn't just include that verbiage in the Disney Parks blog post. Additionally, it just makes sense to have some amount of deluxe studios to bump up next to 1-bedrooms in order to create block-off 2-bedroom villas. In the Disney Parks blog post, of course, highlights that many of these villas will have spectacular views. And I'm fully expecting some of these rooms will have fantastic lagoon views, fireworks views, and electrical water pageant views. That being said, I also believe plenty of rooms will not have these especially spectacular views, and you'll get parking lot, general greenery, maybe the pool, maybe some monorail track. There's going to be some not-so-great views too, is my guess. The Disney Parks blog post also highlighted that the Island Tower will be walkable to the monorail. Based on where the tower physically sits on the land, I think it was always pretty obvious that it was never going to get its own monorail stop, and this definitely confirms that you can either walk to the TTC or walk over to the Great Ceremonial House to hop on the monorail. Other than that, though, no mention of any other transportation, so it's not clear if this will get its own bus stop, for example. Personally, I would not be surprised if the tower does not receive any of its own transportation perks, but only time will tell. Next, let's talk about theming, and it is important to note that these are all just artist renderings, so what it will look like in real life will probably differ a little bit. Disney Parks Blogs notices that on the exterior there will be a gorgeous manta ray. This symbolizes freedom, protection, and grace. And here we've got a really great look at that exterior rendering. Personally, I'm a little bit confused about the manta ray. If anybody knows, leave a comment down below. I do see this lovely artwork on the sides of the tower, but to me, this animal reads more like a bird than a manta ray, but maybe I'm just wrong. Personally, I think it's a little bit hard to appreciate what the building will look like in real life from an artist rendering, but it's nice to get something. It looks like the exterior is going to mix a sand tone with some wood tones. And perhaps the roof and the other beams will be more of a mid-tone for the woodwork, but then it does look like the railings for the balconies are a much darker, richer wood tone. I'm very curious to see what these square areas are, but as with most announcements introducing a new Disney Vacation Club resort, we didn't really learn all that much. For example, while the pool is clearly shown in the artist rendering, we didn't really learn anything about amenities in terms of a new quick service restaurant. Presumably, I would think that there will be a new top-level roof restaurant, maybe there's a bar, a lounge, who knows? And like I previously mentioned, we didn't really learn much about transportation other than, yes, of course, you can access the monorail from the Polynesian. If we go back to the interior, Disney Parks blog did tell us a little bit more about the theming. The lobby will have a large installation on the ceiling that evokes a Polynesian island, showcasing local wildlife. There's also going to be a strong connection to the feeling of nature or conservation throughout the resort. For example, there's going to be a preserved moss wall as well as art installation made from recycled fish nets. I am very hopeful that this back blue wall in this artist rendering is actually a waterfall wall. If there is a running water feature, that would make this awesome. And at this point in time, those are pretty much all of the facts we know. One thing to note that I think is teetering on fact is whether or not the Island Tower will be in the current Polynesian Association. It is very obviously named Island Tower at Disney's Polynesian Villas and Bungalows. Disney's Polynesian Villas and Bungalows is the name of the current association, so I think that is a very strong signal that the tower will almost surely be in the same association as existing PVB. That being said, until we see contracts, we probably can't be 100% certain. But including the tower in the existing association would follow through with remarks made at the most recent Condominium Association meeting. To my knowledge, the tower does not yet have its own webpage like we saw for the cabins at Fort Wilderness and the Villas at Disneyland Hotel. Then again, it's not an entirely new resort, so I'm not too sure if we would expect to see its own webpage. That being said, at least on DVC.com, we're not seeing the new Polynesian Tower as a featured story, at least I'm not in my login page, so I think no further information than the Disney Parks blog post. It's also perhaps worth noting that at least right now when I'm filming this, the Polynesian Resort is not available for add-on points for current members. The Polynesian was pulled off this points add-on tool page back in mid-March, I want to say, but then it was re-added back on not too long after. I'm not sure when it disappeared again. What I know is when I'm filming this right now, when I'm looking at the login, it's not there currently. And importantly, let's go over briefly what we don't know. We know room types, but nothing further about that, nothing about square feet or the bed situation, etc. We don't really know anything about amenities other than a pool's pretty much confirmed. And we really know nothing about the contract. This is probably in the same association as the current Polynesian Association, but that's not 100% confirmed yet. And we don't have a sale date, we don't have price per points. If it is in the same association, we pretty much know the annual dues, but again, I don't think we're 100% sure on that yet. We also still don't have a day when you will be able to book this with points. And I do think that's an interesting choice where folks can book this with cash, but existing members can't book it with points. Even existing Polynesian home resort owners can't book it with points. That's kind of a choice, perhaps, if it is in the same association, which all signs are pointing to. The tower is in the same association. On one hand, I'm not entirely surprised, honestly, because it's a new offering and so obviously easy to sell the cash rooms. And we did see this happen with other new resorts recently, but those were new whole resorts, not a new tower in an existing resort. So I fully understand the comments coming from current Polynesian home resort owners that are a little ticked off that other folks are getting dibs on the new tower through the cash rate when they are not getting dibs for their home resort with points. But that's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes. And while the new tower is slated to open in December 2024, and that is official, we do not have an exact date. What day do you think that the tower will open? My bet's sometime between maybe December 14th and 21st, and I really wouldn't be surprised if it was on the later end of things. Plus, we don't know anything about the points charts. If it is in the same association, of course we have the point charts for current PVV, but that is just studios and bungalows, so you can make a guess, but it's really hard to say. I personally have not yet seen any news about the total amount of points that the tower would contain, and then you could sort of guess how that would break out between the different room types. Until we get that overall number, then I don't even think we can make a super informed guess yet. It's possible that if this is in the same association, they will use this influx of points, this huge influx of inventory, to maybe balance out some of the rate of the bungalows. Only time will tell. This new tower, the Polynesian, seems to be very polarizing. It seems like a lot of people are super excited for it, and by people I mean a lot of current DVC owners are really excited to have this option, and then a lot of general Disney Park fans think it's an eyesore. They only have so much space, so it made sense to me that they built a tower. Plus, towers do alleviate a lot of guest complaints about sprawl and spread of resorts where you're having to walk quite a distance outside in the heat, the humid, the sun, or in the pouring rain. If you put everything in a tower, you kind of avoid that. I understand it's not a longhouse. I know that it is a contrast. I'm not saying it looks like the longhouses. But at least from the artist rendering, it seems like it will go with the longhouses. It feels cohesive enough to me, even though it doesn't match. The interior artist renderings are very different than current Polynesian, but in my opinion, I think they're nice. There's a lot of artistic touches, and what's most impressive to me is it looks like there's going to be a lot of textures without it being super overwhelming and disjointed. Frankly, to me, this looks like Disney's version of Loews Royal Pacific over at Universal, and that's a hotel I like a lot. I really enjoy that theming and the vibe there, so if we get one of those at Disney that's maybe just a little bit less orange and purple themed, that's a win to me. Of course you can dislike it, of course it cannot be to your taste, this is all very subjective. But at the end of the day, try not to get too riled up about it. The project's happening regardless of your feelings, so if you have a lot of negative energy, I would hope that you channel that into something more productive where your voice being heard would actually matter. We still have a lot to learn about Island Tower at Disney's Polynesian Villas and Bungalows. For the most immediate information, go ahead and give me a follow over on Twitter as well as on Ko-fi. It's much faster for me to get text posts out over there than a video up on YouTube. And if you found this video helpful, informative, or entertaining, please remember to hit the thumbs up button to like the video and subscribe to the channel. You can then ring the bell icon to receive a notification whenever I upload new videos. These actions are free for you and super helpful for me. Let me know what you think about this introductory news for Island Tower at Disney's Polynesian Villas and Bungalows in the comments down below. And remember, we're all entitled to our own opinion. It is totally subjective, so try not to bully other people in the comments for having their own thoughts. Preliminarily, are you interested in staying at this tower? Or does seeing this sway your opinion on maybe buying points at the Polynesian? I really don't need any more points, so I don't have plans to buy a contract, but I really love the Polynesian, so I'm not gonna lie, it's in the brain. I got a worm in the brain. I probably need to stop buying Disney vacation points I don't need, though. That's a real truth. I can't wait to learn more, but I'm going to warn you all that personally I'm not holding my breath. December is quite a long time from now, so it may be a bit before we hear much else. But like I said, I'll do my best to keep you updated. Thank you so much for watching. May the rest of your day be magical, and we'll see you real soon at Pixie Dust PhD.